Hey, you filthy animals. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. There was no way to end the song at a satisfying point there. But I'd landed, so, you know. Of course, I forgot to do that, but now we're good. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday. Who's old enough that they remember the old monster truck commercials? That the crazy announcer said Sunday. Who remembers that? Who lived in a redneck enough area? Or was that just everywhere? Was it everywhere that commercial was on all the time? We're going to talk about the BetaFPV 1102-22 today. Jesus. I've been up since 7-something a.m. That flight footage was from this rig, from a Lululemon 5K that they invited me out to fly at. The director that I worked with on Pride last year, and then a couple other things since then. He brought me out, and I flew around, and it was awesome. And my brain is broken because sometimes I'm just going to sleep by 7 a.m. I'm running on like maybe 2 hours of sleep. But I have this shirt on, which makes me happy. I got this shirt for $2 at Kohl's the other day. We were doing a couple of Amazon returns, Maggie and I, and then we went into the closed section as we usually do when we're doing Amazon returns, and I found this shirt 50% off, 50% off, 50% off, 50%. $2, yo. You should, if you don't know what this is from, you're not living. You gotta love Toy Story. If you don't love Toy Story, watch it a whole bunch more times and fall in love with it. And then you'll get this reference. And then you'll be a happier person here on Earth. Because, yeah, gotta be able to love kids stuff. It's not really a kids thing, though. It's Toy Story is just good, man. It's just good filmmaking. Bro! We're also going to put 603s onto the Batwing rig. Maybe, if we have time. Depends on how crazy the chat is. But yeah, I've now got not one, but two of the little analog Batwing camera holding, no ducts in view, way better than Fractal builds. Because I'm just incredibly excited with them. Timmons is making some modifications to the mount. It's looking like we might be able to tuck the mount in, pull the camera down, and have the front of the frame be the farthest forward point, which would kind of make this a really decent solution for freestyle as well. You could do freestyle, no props in view, plenty of durability, and super lightweight, I think, because this little, the Batwing is only 0.6 of a gram. I know damn well the canopies are more than 0.6 of a gram. So, yeah, the Batwing could get us down below 17 grams on a Mobula 6 2024. That could be absolutely ridiculous. There are only going to be certain cameras that you can pull down that far. So some cameras won't. I mean, Timmons seems interested in doing the Batwing mounts for pretty much all of the cameras that are out there, which is cool. I don't think there will need to be mega adjustments to get it to work with pretty much all cameras. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Even if the camera sits like this, man, you are not you are not going to hit that camera all that often. And there are little camera lens protectors built into the thing. So even with the camera sticking forward a little bit, it might be totally freestyle durability ready. I'll let you know. Because, yeah, these rigs I'm going to crash the living shit out of. So one of the things that I want to do here with dueling Batwing setups is check out... I'm going to revisit the 0603 prototype 30,000 kV motors that Jesse from Tiny Whoop sent me forever ago, compared with 702 32,000 kV motors. And, yeah, the 603s are basically like the response time monsters. 6 wide, 3 tall. That is a bell that has less rotational inertia because it's taller and skinnier. The 0702, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the 0702, the bell is wider, and so you've put the heaviest part of the bell, the magnets, out farther, and that's going to hurt the response time, or transient response if you want to be super nerdy about it. The flip side is that the 0603, the magnets are taller, so the bell is a little bit heavier, but the extra power from the taller magnets and the taller stator will offset. And yeah, the 603s should have, almost certainly have better response time than the 702s. Even though you can get the 702s in crazy high KV. At the point that we get up to like 40,000 kV, maybe that goes out the window. There is a chance that the 0702 40,000s or maybe even the 36,000s do have better response time than the 603 30,000s. But if there was a 603 36,000 or 40,000, it would come alive and it would have better response time. I don't think we need that much KV out of a 603. I don't even know if we'll ever get a 603. To be totally honest, it's a very unique. I put the Batwing on upside down. It's a very unique camera size. I'm sorry, it's a very unique stator size that I don't know if it's really needed, to be honest. There's the 702 really seems to be the sweet spot, and I have a feeling that we just don't really need the 603s. It's a fascinating motor, and I love the way that it flies, but it's a little heavier than the 702s, and yeah, the lightweight just fixes everything, man. As we've learned from Miatas, lightweight fixes all the things. So yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see a 603 in the good high KVs that we like, but it's cool to kind of mess around with it. And yeah, shout out to Jesse from Tiny Whoop for sending me those prototypes a while ago and letting me test them, because it's been super interesting. And it having those has also helped me to kind of come to some of the conclusions that we've come to, referencing the in terms of what the right motor sizes are. That's better. Much better. No. Yes. Dennis Matovich, Riot 9, Veritas Weasel, Bob Bruce, Adam Weston, 661FPV, Riot 9, Oscillation Andy. Oscillation Andy, that is a fucking YouTube name right there. Free Lojo, Dennis Matovich again, Schubert Technologies, SOS Death Valley, Troy Prelog, Morton Upshot, Christopher Conkrite, Dennis Matovich, Kilo Zebra, Scotty Scott, SOS Death Valley, Sean Lewis Media, Free Lojo, Leaf FPV, Upside, Bob Bruce, Veritas Weasel, Kevin the Alien, Beef FPV, Matt Norton, Douglas Otwell, Alexander Lewis Hughes, Trinitron FPV, Riot 9, Anonymous, Kilo Zebra, Schubert Tech, Carbon Cubs, Dub Squared, Upside, Bob Bruce, Riot 9, Morton Upshot, trying to weed out the repeats, but I'm not doing a great job. I think I might have everybody. What's up, friends? Brandon's Baked Beans. Nope, I don't have everybody. Prop Junkie, Walter, Kevin James. What's up, friends? Schubert Technologies with a $2 super chat. He says, thanks on my Grinderino. What are pitchy props? Anything more than like 20 pitch to me is a pitchy prop, but that varies quite a bit. In the world of Tiny Whoops, as little as like 10 is considered like a pitchy propeller. But then when you get up into like 2-inch, 2.5-inch, 3-inch, yeah, anything more than 20 is considered like pitchy. Here's the thing. Here's what you want to do, Schubert. So Schubert Technologies asked a great question over on Joshua's stream, and I replied to it. And he very coolly came over here and hooked the brother up with a super chat. My answer to him was, make sure that you get some of the more pitchy props. His plan was to get HQ 3.5 by 2.0 props, and he's looking to run an 1804 motor. 1804 is a big bastard of a motor. And on a 3.5-inch propeller, that motor stator volume will easily drive a 3.5-inch, like 2.5 pitch, 3 pitch, maybe even 3.5 pitch propeller. Here's what you want to do, Schubert Technologies, and everybody else. Every single time that you're doing an order on any FPV store, go into the propeller section and add 2 or 3 or 4 sets of propellers that you don't have. If you're doing a fresh build, and if you're like, so it sounds like he is doing his first 3.5-inch build. My real recommendation is going to be whichever websites you order from to get all the parts in that build. Boy, would it be nice to go back in time a couple of years and be able to do a full build on one website. Those days are long gone, though. But this will actually work in your benefit because different websites have different propellers. So wherever you're ordering from to get the parts for that build, buy all of at least one set of all the 3.5-inch propellers that they sell. You're going to spend a total of like $30, maybe $40, but now you're going to have every single 3.5-inch prop that there is. And now you get the awesome experience of testing all of them, which helps you practice being able to... So the propellers will make a bigger difference in flight characteristics than pretty much anything else, other than maybe like motors. But like if you go between two motors that are both properly sized, that are similar in kV, it's actually not that big of a difference. If you go between like a motor that's way too small and a motor that's correct, yeah, okay, that's going to be the most noticeable difference. But like in terms of, but that would be like putting a 2-inch propeller on and then comparing it to a 3.5-inch propeller, right? Like that's going to be so obvious. So just stick with me here. The propellers make the biggest difference in flight characteristics. And so testing different propellers is your best chance to try to get rid of the placebo and actually maybe feel a difference in flight characteristics on that quad. It's still very hard to feel the difference. But there are things that you don't even need to feel in the air, like durability, like whether or not they're balanced, how loud they are, which you will be able to actually tell the difference between these different propellers, and those different characteristics are very important. So yeah, propellers being really cheap is amazing because you can get a whole bunch of different ones and test them out for yourself and see which ones you love the best. You'll be able to tell the difference in pitch for sure. You're going to get a really low set of propellers because you're buying them all. You're probably going to get like a 3.5 by 1.5. And then you're also going to get like a 3.6 by 3.6, I think it is actually. And when you run that low pitch prop and then that high pitch prop, you're going to be able to feel a difference. And that's going to drive home in your head the difference that pitch makes. Because it's not just like power. It's actually like speed, and it's the like comfortable cruising velocity. There's a lot of differences there. And for like $30 or $40, getting able to tell that and try all these different propellers is a really, really, really valuable experience for you to kind of go through. And you'll have a whole bunch of propellers too, right? Which is really nice because you go out and you start crashing, and inevitably at some point you run out of props. And if when you first started your build, you bought a whole bunch of different ones, you're going to have like a full set of like these weirdo props that you didn't necessarily love, but you can just throw on to get you through the rest of the day. Worst case, you're going to have a bunch of sets with 3 propellers, but the PID loop will actually adjust. Like at worst case scenario, you can mismatch props. You can actually mismatch all 4 propellers. The PID loop runs at either 4,000 or 3,000 or 8,000 cycles per second. So minimum 3,000 times per second. That PID loop is saying, the PID loop is basically error correction. And so at a minimum of 3,000 times per second, that PID loop is asking the gyro what's happening and then sending various amounts of power to different motors. So if you have all mismatched props, it's just going to be able to figure that out. And it's just going to send less power to the more pitchy propeller, and it's going to send more power to the less pitchy prop. And you're not even going to be able to tell, believe it or not. It's wild. If there's enough of a variance, like if you have a 36 pitch and a 15 pitch, there's actually a chance that it might perform a little bit weird, but you won't do that. You'll pick up, if you have to mismatch propellers, you'll pick the one that's the closest in pitch, and I can almost guarantee you that you won't be able to tell the difference. It's magic. The error correction in these things is just absurd. Free Lojo has been up since 3 a.m. Pacific. Good Lord. Kilo Zebra says, at least you didn't get sunburned today. I was outside, though. Kilo Zebra is referencing a gig that I did last Thursday, or 2 Thursdays ago, I guess, for Da Baby. And I was outside for 12 hours and just got roasted. So the sunburn was so bad that I actually wore sunglasses on the stream, on that Friday stream, because I was like bright red and then just like Caucasian as fuck, and then bright red. And it just looked so stupid. I actually looked less dumb wearing sunglasses on a live stream. Hey, if you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange. Or you can do a super chat. This is a completely crowdfunded thing that I have going here. 99% of my income is based on you beautiful people joining my Patreon, doing super chats, using my affiliate links, ordering my stuff from Etsy, booking one-on-one time with me through Fiverr. Take advantage of 7+ years of knowledge and sit down for a half an hour with me, and I'll just blast through all the questions that you've got. Or I can walk you through some stuff. I can help you fly better in the simulator. I can help you build better, get parts that suit your specific needs rather than just getting whatever's in stock or whatever looks fanciest. Tune better as well. I can walk you through those things, or if you've got a half an hour's worth of questions, let rip, and I'll give you the actual good answers to them. If you want bad answers to your questions, feel free to go to Facebook groups, because that's pretty much all you're going to get there. Can you tell I'm salty? Rightfully so, though. Literally more than 50% of the answers that you will get on FPV Facebook groups are dead ass wrong. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even exaggerating. It is worse than 50-50. So as far as I'm concerned, just flip a goddamn coin and you'll have a better chance at getting the right answer than asking on a Facebook group. Kevin James with a $10 super chat. He says, hello, Mupshot is hoarding sporks on Discord. What? I think that might be either young person lingo or internet person lingo. I'm neither young, even though I look young. I'm going to be 43 years old 10 days from now. I'm neither young nor a super dialed in computer person. I'm an analog old person, my friends, believe it or not. Thank you for the support, Kevin James. And then Wake and Bake with a $5 super chat. He says, the T-Motor tri-blades with 32,500 kV screamers rip on my Fractal. I need one of those Batwing mounts. Dude, you will save 2.5 grams going to the Batwing mount. I didn't realize, like, when we did all the weights on that one live stream a little bit ago, I don't know how I didn't realize it would be such a big weight difference, but it is, and that makes me even happier. Hold on, there's apparently somebody is chasing go-karts at Atlanta Motorsport Park FPV, and I had asked them forever ago about that, and I didn't get anywhere. But now that they're having someone do it, I'm gonna bombard the hell out of them. Sorry, I opened Instagram and I needed to just make a note of that, because otherwise I will forget. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. 20.5 fat. Same exact build. 18.2. I guess it's not exactly. Oh. I can't play the rest of that song. Look at this guy. Look at him. Look at his fluffies. Look at the fluffiness. Here comes. Woof. Woof. Ooh, he's even schnauzier in 240 frames. God, look at that. Look at those ears. Look at that big bushy beard. Oh, I'm going to eat this dog. I'm going to cook this dog up and eat him. Look at that, yo. What the hell? Wait, no, I guess it's not even 18.2, 18, 19, 20, 20.2. Yeah, no, 2.3. What? 19, 20, 20.2. Yeah, it's almost 1.5 grams. 1.3 grams. Crazy, 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 crazy difference. That would explain why all of a sudden I went from less than 3 minutes runtime to 4 minutes and 20 seconds on like only the second battery. I haven't even run a bunch of batteries on the Batwing setup, and I'm already getting over a minute and 20 seconds extra runtime. Yeah, what an amazing difference. Weight and less stuff below the propeller blocking thrust makes. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm kind of doing questions out of order here, but I'm going to get caught up. Wake and Bake says, I need one. It's coming soon, dude, I promise. Christopher Conwright says, how hard is the ham license? It's not mentioned when buying your drones. How do I study? Just Google, like, studying for ham license. We've all had to get it in order to stay legal. It's pretty easy. I did it so long ago that I don't even remember it. I don't remember anything about it. But legally, we all must get it. Cool? Nobody gets it. I don't know a single person in FPV that has their ham license. But we've all got it. I'm just kidding. We all got it. We all had to get it. Every single one of us, as soon as we got into FPV, we looked up the rules. We Googled it. What do I need to do in FPV? And one of the things was, you got to get your ham license. So we were all like, okay. And then so we Googled, how do I study for my ham license? And Google said, here's how you do that. And then we typed in, where do I go to get my ham license, to take my ham license test? And Google said, you got to go here. It was so long ago that I don't remember any of it. But I definitely did get it. We definitely haven't all not gotten our ham licenses. That's for sure. Because that would be illegal. And we don't want to break the law. Because we're just flying toy drones. We're flying toy helicopters, and that's serious business. So we take all of the legal things very, very seriously. It's very important when we're live on the internet. Schubert Technology says, thanks for the explanation, liked and sub. Thank you, dude, for the support. Aditya says, hello. Mo FPV's in the house. He says, 1102s, baby. Excited to see them on a heavier Walksnail build. The intro to the live stream has the third battery that I flew on them. We're going to fly them live at some point here. And I've got two. Here, I'll bring it up now. I'll bring up one of the other batteries that I flew. Well, I'll just run all three batteries in succession. So the beginning of the stream has the third battery, which ran sort of like the longest. But this is the first battery here. I'm really, really, really impressed by them. I really wish that they were a higher KV, but they're not. And we got to be cool with, yeah, we got to just appreciate what we have, rather than bitching and moaning. But at some point, if somebody can make 25,000 kV 1102s that are this light, I would just, I would give them a big old hug. The wind was nasty. I was getting kicked around even with the Cinewhoop today. So yeah, if you see me like weirdly sliding sideways, it's just me kind of surfing on the wind a little bit. But yeah, the runners went out and then they did their 5K thing, and I was just here waiting. So I put this rig up in the air and started farting around and had a good time. It was kind of perfect today. This morning was a lot of fun. And I'm just blown away by how this thing flies. Also, the sure, yeah, just stop there. Good. The wibbles and the wobbles that you're gonna see are also from the wind. In no wind, it's absolutely locked, as you'll see when we fly it in a little bit. But yeah, when it gets hammered by the wind, it's a KV problem. It doesn't have the motor is now big enough. 1102 is very obviously a big enough stator. And I really think the lesson that I've learned from these motors is that with picking up Walksnail, that is the wind right there. I had that gap lined up perfectly, and the wind just pushed me into his foot. Yeah, I think what I've really learned is that the 802 stator is in fact overheating. We've been talking about this for a while now, and that I was really suspicious of it. But these 1102s, I think, really kind of made me understand that with picking up Walksnail, picking up the extra 6 grams of Walksnail or HD0, an 802 motor is just not quite big enough. The 802 is perfect for these 1.6-inch propellered rigs on analog, but as soon as you add that extra 6 grams of Walksnail, it just goes to hell. God, I hate that this computer does this. It just freezes constantly when it's playing footage back. I don't understand. I think it's an Apple problem, actually. I think Apple has really optimized their operating system for solid state memory hard drives. But, you know, I've got 6 or 7 terabytes of flight footage, and like I do have a the built-in hard drive is solid state, but yeah, I can't keep my flight footage on that because it's not huge. And so, yeah, I get that weird freezing all the time. Anybody on Macs have a solution to that? I've done a bunch of research. There is a program called Amphetamine that prevents the hard drives from going to sleep, which does help. But when I run that program and I keep the hard drives from going to sleep, the icons for the hard drives on my desktop every like 5 seconds they like disappear and then they come back. It's really weird. Although, yeah, I don't know. It's super weird. I had to turn off there's yeah, I don't know. Never mind. Quick settings. Yeah. But yeah, man, look at this thing cruising around outside in like a big ass space with a bunch of wind. Not that much wind, but some wind. And it's a tiny whoop, yo. This also really made me remember why I don't like flying tiny whoops outside. It's because of the wind, man. God damn. Even a heavy, powerful 75 millimeter rig like this is still getting kicked around considerably by the wind. But yeah, this is the best that this Walksnail 75. This is the best that any tiny whoop I've ever built with Walksnail has flown outside, hands down. These 1102 22,000s are great. They're also very lightweight. They're only like 0.1 something of a gram heavier than the 1002s. I do have the RC and Power 1002 22,000s coming, and I'm looking forward to testing those. I also have a set of the RC and Power 1003s coming. Problem with those is they're kind of heavy. But yeah, I'm going to let the third one play that played on the intro, because, you know, why not? I could just keep talking over it. But yeah, well, looks like I have to go back. But there you go. Yeah, I'm very, very, very impressed by them. Like I said, we're going to fly them live in a little bit here, and we're going to back-to-back them against the 802 33,000 kV motors. And then I'm going to take those 802... I said 803 a second ago. I meant to say 802. After I head-to-head these, I will be taking the 802 33,000s off and putting them onto an analog rig, because yeah, they just don't have the performance for Walksnail. I've really tried, and it's just not there. It just the Walksnail system is heavy enough that when flying outside and cruising at the higher speeds that you do outside, the 802s are just getting too hot, and when magnets get hot, they don't work as good, and so you've got a smaller motor that's overheating, that's crazy kV, and that's a really bad combination. But on an analog 75 millimeter rig, they're going to be absolutely ridiculous, and I'm kind of looking forward to that, because yeah, there it is again, and I can hear it. I can hear the hard drive spin down just for no reason. Like, it just, the hard drives just spin down for no reason. Don't spin down. I'm asking you to give me data. What are you doing? Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. Apple, what the hell? Why would you, like... It's probably just me. It's not. So yeah, there's that. What else is happening in the chat? Let me get caught up. KR Ham Crom. Thanks a lot for your help diagnosing my 1S 3-inch toothpick ESC issues on JB's Discord the other day. Made it today, and it's incredibly fun. Very cool. Crom, what did we? I've been very busy the last couple of days. What did we end up on? What was the issue? I don't even remember. I'm glad that I helped, but I don't remember what my solution was. I want other people to know what the solution was. Hey, also, if you're seeing a little bit of jello, is a bright day, no ND filter, and I have this Walksnail. I have the Walksnail settings set up for low light from chasing the drift cars indoor. So I could probably change the settings a little bit in the Walksnail menu to get rid of a little bit of the jello. But tiny whoops outside on bright sunny days with HD, jello is going to become a problem. This is one of the reasons why this is something that I dealt with on the tiny lifter setup. And it's one of the things that's actually most impressive. I kind of wish I'd brought this. This would have been a better rig to fly around here, but you know, it kind of is what it is. This is the tiny lifter. This is designed to carry an Insta360 Go 2, 1002, 14,000 kV motors, double BT 2.0 here, and I run 2 of the folded cell 300s at a time on it. Because of the extra weight and because the Insta360 Go is up here, like kind of soft mounted a little bit on these TPU bunny ears, I don't really deal with jello as bad on this rig, which is really, really nice. The Walksnail setup is also like a freestyle build, right? Like this is on beat up propellers. I'd been bouncing this off of jungle gyms and whatnot. So fresh set of propellers. This would have probably had a little bit less jello, but yeah, if I was gonna film in broad daylight outside, more cinematic type stuff, like what I was just showing you guys, the tiny lifter would be a better setup for that, admittedly. But you know, I was just kind of farting around with this rig. I am gonna send DJ the flight footage from this, just to show him, because Lululemon did not want me flying the sub 250 rigs that carry the GoPro inside their store. But I'm pretty sure they would let me fly this inside. They would let me fly this inside the store, right? So yeah, I would love to figure out a way to. Yeah, I don't know. I also think I'm going to ask Walksnail if they will add to the. Right now, they give you the option of 0 or 180 degrees on the lens, so that if you mount the camera upside down, you can just flip the sensor upside down. I'm going to ask them if they'll put 90 and 270 in there, so that we can fly in vertical. A, it would be kind of interesting to fly in vertical, but B, it would be perfect for social media at this point. And I bet you we could adapt to it. It would suck, I'm sure, but to be able to fly something like this and yeah, and get like, because look, 1080, the quality on here, the quality from this in 1080 60, if you don't have to crop it, right, is going to look phenomenal on a phone. And like, that's kind of all you really need, in my opinion, for a phone, right? Like putting it, like getting footage off of a GoPro and then running it through Premiere and color grading and all this nonsense, and then 80% of people watching it on their phone is the biggest waste ever. Like, it is maddening. But that's the world that we live in. So, yeah. Veritas, I'm going to go up to the beginning and get caught up properly on the chat. Veritas Weasel says, what's new? All kinds of stuff. Bob Bruce says, are you running those 22,000 kV motors on 2S? God, no. 44,000 kV would be bananas. Yeah, no. 1S, 22,000 kV. I really hope that BetaFPV or somebody will do a light 1102 on 25, 26, 27, 28,000 kV. Adam Weston says, driving through Atlanta on the way to Ohio. You can keep this traffic. Freelojo with the Patreon link in the chat. Thank you so much. Patreon is the best way that you can support me. For $3 a month, you can jump on board. You're going to get a ton of benefits. Unlisted playlists on YouTube with all kinds of fun stuff. Full Discord access 2 different Facebook groups, one for hanging, one for selling your stuff to a trusted group of people, and the undying love of the gangliest son of a bitch in all of FPV. What's not to love? That's 10 cents a day, yo. You got 10 cents. You're into FPV. You got 10 cents a day. Come get some good info. Support me. I'll test more stuff because I'll use your $3 a month. Or if you do $5 a month, you can get entered to win giveaways. The first Monday of every month, I do 4 giveaways. 3 of those giveaways are only for patrons. $5 a month, you're going to be entered to win Tiny Whoop and toothpick stuff. $10 a month, 3-inch micro brushless and Cinewhoop parts. $20 a month, 5-inch parts. $1 a day, $30 a month to be a crazy supporter. You're going to get entered into all 3. So you'll be entered into 3 giveaways a month every single month. If you win one of those giveaways, you're going to get at least like $50 or $60 worth of stuff. That's usually how much stuff I put into the giveaways. And that's going to pay for your Patreon for a whole bunch of months. So you could potentially make money by supporting your gangly buddy. You got to be lucky, though. So, you know. Upside says, so many motor sizes. I'm trying to not learn about... and hello to Defam, whatever that is. Bob Bruce says, I remember it. I was in a super redneck area back then, talking about Sunday. Veritas Souza says, filthy animals, no. Filthy manimals, yes, indeed. It was everywhere, Douglas Otwell says. Kilo Zebra says, at least you didn't get sunburned today. It's true. I'd already read that one. Good to go there. No, we're not caught up on chat. That's impossible. Denzel the Terrible says, howdy. Super nice day here. Just popping in to say hi between rippin' packs. That's a good Saturday right there. Sunday right there. Prop Junkie says, hello. Hope all is well. Which picture do you prefer, PAL or NTSC? I kind of like PAL because there's a... Wait. Hold on. I forget which one's which now. If you ever forget which one's which, just type into Google PAL versus NTSC. I was right, yeah. So I kind of like that PAL has more vertical field of view, right? As you can see here, PAL has 576 visible lines vertically, whereas NTSC has 480. But PAL is 25 frames a second. NTSC is 30. So I like the frame rate of NTSC, but I like the vertical resolution of PAL. For freestyle flying, NTSC is a better choice. 30 frames a second is really what you want for freestyle. For if you're going to like run it through gyro flow, PAL would be better. For the extra vertical field of view, or if you're going to crop for social media. So yeah, there's not I mean, realistically, you're just going to get a camera and then it is what it is. It has what it has. There used to be a time where you could get, actually, sorry. It's 60 frames versus 50 frames. Sorry. NTSC is 60 hertz, 60 frames a second. PAL is 50 hertz, 50 frames a second. There was a time where they made a bunch of cameras in both PAL and NTSC, and you got to pick. Nowadays, that's kind of gone. And I think the PAL versus NTSC thing is really only in analog world, right? It does not come over to HD. No, HD does not have that option. So yeah, for analog, if you want to be super picky, for freestyle, although, you know, the problem with 50 frames a second is that if you go from 50 frames a second to 30 frames a second, it's not clean math, and so there'll be a lost frame or a doubled frame every once in a while. And that gives you like this little bit of judder every like, I don't know, second, every 2 seconds. I forget what the math works out at. Whereas at 60 frames a second, 60 hertz for NTSC, if you go from 60 to 30, it just gets rid of half the frames, and there's no stuttering, there's no nonsense. It's not the biggest deal, but it's there. And if you want to be super picky, there it is. But yeah, I really do like the extra vertical field of view in PAL. I haven't had the opportunity to like make that decision though in a while. It's been just like, this is the camera that fits in this canopy that's really durable, and so this is the camera that I'm going to run. So yeah, there's that. What else is happening here? Scotty Scott says, think my Miata is going to a new home, showed it and accepted an offer. Now they just need to come get it. Oh man, that's sad, but you can always get another one. I have a funny feeling that if I ever get mine back from the shop that screwed T-Pain over, that it'll probably go up for sale as well. And then someday I'll revisit that. But yeah, it's when I lived in Charleston with that car, Charleston drivers are notoriously just idiots. Just like they don't care about anybody else's property. They're bad at driving. They're aloof. They're just a bunch of shitbirds. And in like 4 years or whatever it was of living in Charleston, my Miata that had never been run into from 1999 to, I don't know, 2015 maybe, let's say, it got hit while parked 3 times really hard, once in each corner. I got run into in 10-mile-an-hour traffic by somebody who continued to run into me, didn't realize that they were smashing into someone else, and continued to drive themselves into me. I think there was one more accident. It was wild. And so, like, the car just took such a beating. And so now both rear quarters are dented in, and those are really hard to, you can't paintless dent repair them out. Yeah, the car is just a basket case. Like, it went from, like, damn near show car status when I had it in New Jersey to just, like, giant heap of shit after 4 years of Charleston assholes. So, yeah, when I get it back, like, I don't know. If I get it back, I don't know. I love it so much. It's just, I miss it like hell, but I think it's got to go. And, like, some drift donkey will buy it. It's got a bunch of, I mean, it kills me though, because it has like a real garage very front lip on it. Like, it's got a bunch of parts that you can't get anymore that are like really, really, really cool. So I don't know, maybe I'll bring it back to life, but I have a funny feeling I'll just let it go, and then someday maybe get into like an ND1 or something like that, but we'll see. Gert JNX is in the house. What's up, homie? I haven't seen you in a while. Good to have you back. And I think I'm caught up here. Let me scroll back down in the chat. Where are we? Here we go. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm very behind. Okay. Upside says loop a playlist on quiet. In order to do that, I would have to pay Epidemic Sound $16 a month, and it's just not worth it. And I actually kind of don't like it. I don't like streams that have that constant music track under them. Lucky says, oh man, that wind looks annoying. I deal with it here too. Very annoying. Nathan Otis says 20.5 to 18.22 is 2.28 grams. That's just over 11%. Wow, I didn't work out the actual percentage. 11%. Oh my god. Oh boy, it's just bananas. MoFPV says, sorry, did you say that footage is 75 millimeters or 80 millimeters? 75. It's this guy right here, which is Meteor 75 airframe, BetaFPV 1102 22,000s, Gemfan 1610 propellers, Mobula 6 OG canopy, Walksnail light with the heat shield removed, and then BetaFPV cross style AIO. Super simple, BT 2.0, of course. And then the Weebleed folded cell 450 mAh BT 2.0 batteries. Super simple setup, but yeah, a long time in the making. I've been trying different motors on this thing for the last like month and a half. For anybody that hasn't been following along, I've been trying to keep it absolutely as light as possible, and I've been a little bit too, because what this is a freestyle rig. Like there's the prop guards are in view no matter what, so it's not a cinematic rig. This is absolutely a freestyle rig. Me flying it there was just me getting it up in the air because I just put these motors on last night. But yeah, this is a rig that I want to bash jungle gyms with. I have these analog rigs that are similar to this, that I lovingly call jungle gym bashers. I like 65 millimeter rigs at jungle gyms because they're just that extra little bit lighter, and they're just so much sharper. But they get hammered by the wind even worse than these. So this is the best sort of middle ground that I've found, having enough power to deal with the wind, having enough weight to deal with the wind, but then being light enough to shoot all the tiny little gaps in jungle gyms that are really difficult. And so I would love to have a Walksnail version of it. The Jungle Gym Basher is basically just a Mobula 7 1S with a motor swap. Nothing crazy here, NBT 2.0. The ethos behind this has for a while been, well, can we carry Walksnail and have a Jungle Gym Basher that's HD? And the answer is kind of no. Mainly, I think, because of durability. I just can't imagine a world, and maybe I'm wrong, I would love to be wrong here, but I can't imagine a world where this is going to be durable enough to go full throttle into metal poles over and over and over and over and over again. Especially because the Walksnail VTX, any HD system that you run on one of these, the VTX is going to have to sit up on top here, and then you're going to have to run extra long screws down, and it's just, it's I can just tell you, it's not going to be durable enough for the unbelievable thrashing that I'm going to give it. Most people would not slam one of these as bad as I'm going to, but going like all in on one of these jungle gyms is so much fun. Like, and the jungle gym bashers are very durable, so you can do it with analog. Yeah, like power looping from one monkey bar to the next and then Matty flipping through the one in front of it. Like, it's just too cool. But you end up full throttling into metal a lot, and it's just vicious. So I'm sure that in the end, this is not going to be durable enough for like actual jungle gym bashing, but I am going to leave one of these put together because this is awesome. like what I was just doing, those three batteries that I showed you guys, nobody gave a shit. Like, you'll notice that not one person was like, nobody was frowning. Nobody was like calling the cops. Nobody was slapping out of the air. Like, when you fly something this small and quiet and light and silly around people, or anywhere for that matter, nobody cares. It's like a joke. It's just like, oh, look at the guy flying the funny little kid's toy. That's interesting. And like, that's really cool because like you can take these anywhere and get 1080 60 really decent footage and just rip around, and it's just, yeah, it's absolutely so much fun. And so this will stay together forever, but it's not going to get called the Jungle Gym Basher, I don't think, but I am going to try that. Like I'm willing to kill one of these Walksnail lights for science. That's one of the great things about you beautiful people supporting me here, is that I can afford to just throw caution to the wind and wreck a $80-some Walksnail light because, you know, you got like through things like this, you guys support me, and then I can break this stuff and let you know how much it took to break it. Speaking of, we need a new gear fund, and I had, oh yeah, so I have bought a bunch of these 1002 motors. There you go. Here we go. I always put a little bit extra in for shipping and whatnot. because, you know, it's a real thing. There you go. I already have these motors, but pretend like I haven't bought these motors already. And there's our new fund. Here's the beautiful thing about this. I already know how these. I can give you instant feedback on these motors. They're fine, but they don't make more power than the Flywoo 1002 23500s, and I need more power than what those Flywoo. I think they actually make a little bit less power than them. And that's not enough for this. I got these Zing 1002 22000s for this rig to see maybe if they would have enough power, and they just don't. But that's me being a lunatic, and or if you were to put these onto an analog 75mm rig, they would absolutely blast. If you're not as power hungry of a person as I am, these are totally fine on this Walksnail rig. It's just I'm looking for something that's got like 8-to-1 power to weight ratio and rips like a 5-inch. So yeah, join me on the Zing 1002 fund. If you want to donate to this fund, you do a super chat or a PayPal, and in the note you say for the Zing 1002 fund, and then I add the amount of money that you donate to that, and then when we get to $50, the fund will become the BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV fund. And then after that, it'll be the RC and Power 1002 fund, and then after that, it will be the RC and Power 1003 fund. But yeah, man, I'm super impressed with this. I really, really, really am. Like I said, we're gonna fly it in a little bit around the house where it doesn't belong, which is why I'm kind of waiting on that, because it's gonna be really hard to fly in the house here. But yeah, for anybody that doesn't believe me that what I was just flying was with this rig, yeah, I will fly it live. Brandon's Big Bean says using 1102 on 31mm props, hell no. 1.6 inch 1610 Gemfan 1610 beat ass Gemfan 1610s. Actually, they did a very short run, it seems, of gray 1.5mm motor shaft 1610 propellers. That's how you know how these are how beat these are, because they're old. I've not seen them in gray in months. You can only get the 1.5mm version of the 1610 in blue, which is a shame. It's only a shame if you're a loser like me. Cole Power says, not a Mac user, but there should be a way to set the spin down time on spinning hard disk drives. Some command like HD Parm maybe, or the BSC Mac equivalent of that command. That's what that program Amphetamine does. Also, there's not a setting on Mac. There's just a checkbox of spin down hard drives to save power, which I've turned off. So yeah, that didn't help. It's an issue that I've Googled before, and lots of people are like, "What the hell?" And yeah, I haven't found a solution. The only solution that I've found is this program Amphetamine, and it's yeah, it doesn't seem to. Well, the program works when I tell it to. Like, so here's the settings menu of the program, and there's a part of this called Drive Alive, which keeps the drives awake. But if I enable this, I guess I have to end. Oh no, we're good. Yeah, so now it's on. Now watch, see it? You already saw it. So it does that over and over and over again, and it just drives me insane. I can't handle it. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe it was just that one time that it was doing it. You'll see. 100 seconds from now, those will all recycle. But it does work. It's just it just drives me crazy. I mean, what I'm thinking about doing is changing the icons to the blue folders, because that's what that's what they all switch over to. But I think the other problem is it like reorders the drives, and there'll be like a gap between here. I'll leave it on, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. It's maddening. Or maybe it's just me. Arend FPV says, what motor size and KV would you recommend for a 2S 2.5-inch toothpick? Arend, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm not a toothpick guy. Having props and motors in view makes me want to vomit. And my first like 2 years in FPV, all I flew, not all, but like 80-90% of what I flew was a toothpick. And I really burned it out. And so like just the way that toothpicks fly, I'm just not a huge fan of. Wait, no, I gotta leave it here so you guys can see the drives go crazy. So yeah, I'm not super up on the toothpick game. So take this recommendation with a big old grain of salt. One of the things you can do is look at the bind and fly toothpicks. Look for a 2.5-inch 2S bind and fly toothpick. See what motor size and KV they run. And then typically there you go, see it? And then typically bind and flies are a little bit underpowered. So you can go up in motor size and go up in KV. And then that's usually a really nice way of speccing something out. Off the top of my head, I think you're going to want like a 1204 or a 1203. And then for 2S, you're probably going to want like 9 to 11,000 kV. If you can find 11,000 kV or even 12,000 kV, do it. And then you can motor limit it down in Betaflight if it's too much. You can't motor limit up in Betaflight. So yeah, always buy a slightly higher kV motor than you need. Smoking Dog Cujo says, I wish you had a chance to test those Hype Drain 1002 24,000 kV motors. I'm probably going to buy another set of them, to be honest. And then do a build with the direct solder version of the BetaFPV Cross AIO. So yeah, stay tuned. Maybe those motors are magic. I actually asked Bubby about those motors. I assumed that, him of all people would have flown them, and he's like, yeah, I haven't I haven't flown those before. I don't know anything about them. I was like, oh, okay. All right, never mind. Harmless Adam says, bro, solid state is the way to go for storage. Yeah, I would have to sell both of my cars and get a loan out, though, to get 20 terabytes of solid state hard drives. So yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Schubert Technologies says, do you save your live streams after? I gotta run, but I want to re-listen to your answers to my questions. I don't save them, but YouTube does. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of live streams of content here on my channel. So now that you're subscribed, you'll remember me and come on back. There's one of the best things you can do, just on YouTube in general, in my opinion, is use the search feature. So on anybody's channel, there's this tiny little hidden magnifying glass here, and you can search within the channel for Walksnail, for example. Well, if you spell it right, it helps. And now this will pull up every single live stream that I've talked about or titled the stream with Walksnail, and it's just amazing. And you can get like really nerdy with this. Like you can search for like 1102, and it'll really narrow things down. You can that's still a pretty open-ended search field, but yeah, the little search is amazing on people's channels. I use it myself. I have to turn Drive Alive off. I can't handle it. Or I'm just gonna do this. Oh, come on now. There we go. I'm just gonna do this. This is fine. I don't need my desktop to look cool. It's about perform. Oh, for fuck's sake. Hold on. Not that it would show you guys, but I don't even want you to know how many characters are in it. There we go. Now I'm just going to leave it on forever. Problem solved. Cool. So there we go. Now that problem is fixed. Lucky says, would these motors work good on an HD0 with HD0 Eco on a 75? For sure, yeah. I mean, the only difference in flight performance, like the HD0 Eco is a gram heavier. I'm sorry, a gram lighter than Walksnail. So yeah, it would be even better. It would have a gram less weight. Right 9 says above advice for Max Sleep HD settings by Christopher. He says disable disk sleep settings. Yep, we've done that. You can try disabling the disk sleep settings on your Mac. The system preferences energy. Yep, did that forever ago. To pull hard disk to sleep when possible. Delete power management. That's interesting. Delete power management files. You can try deleting the power management files in your Mac. That's interesting. I've not heard about that. But yeah, the drive alive setting in amphetamine, it does get the job done. And now that I've gone to just ugly icons, we are actually good to go. What is this? What is this folder on the desktop? Oh, it's that memory card. Got it. We're good. Kevin the Alien tagged me but didn't say anything. Oh, I think he was going to point me to Christopher's comments. Alexander Lewis Hewitt says, good call on the vertical camera. Makes sense to not waste pixels. Yep, that's what it's about. It's about wasting pixels. Or not wasting pixels. Timon says, would the 1102s be too much for an analog 75mm waiting for Walksnail transplant? Yes and no. Mainly no. But yes, they're too heavy. An analog 75 is so light that the 802 is the perfect sized motor. An 1102 is fine, but the rig becomes a bunch heavier, and then you don't have the extra kV. 802s on an analog 75, it's just a big enough, the motor is just big enough where it doesn't get hot, and then you can get the motor in 25,000, 27,000, 30,000, 33,000 kV, and you can make gobs of power. Putting an 1102 or a 1002, 22,000 kV on that same rig, it gets a bunch heavier. The motor stays icy cool, but you don't have that kV. You're stuck at 22,000 kV, so it can't make that extra power. It feels fine, it just feels heavy. Whereas like the 802 high kV motors are just like lightning. They are just... We'll fly that rig too. We'll fly 3 rigs today. Walksnail on 1102s, Walksnail on 802 33,000s, analog on 802 30,000s. And you will not believe the difference. It's wild. Do I have 3 batteries charged? I do. I have exactly 3 of these 450 mAh batteries charged. So yeah, let me get caught up on chat and then we will do that. Good question, brother. Brandon's Baked Beans dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. Troy Prulog says, are you sticking with bi-blades on the 1102? You're going to test all 40 millimeter props again. I started to test all of the 40 millimeter props again last night. I tested the Gemfan 1208 tri-blades, and then I tested the Gemfan, I'm sorry, not 1208, 1608. And then I tested the Gemfan 1635. Yep, 1635 tri-blades. And I was immediately reminded that for whatever reason, the bi-blades are really the only props that are properly balanced. And then I just said, fuck this. I'm done. The Gemfan bi-blades, they're just so good. And here's the other thing. The Gemfan bi-blades, I can't believe I didn't really wrap my head around this. The Gemfan bi-blades are 1610, or for the smaller ones are 1210. All right? 1.2 inches or 1.6 inches, 10 pitch. The pitch... and then and then the tri-blades are like 1608. And like the pitch is weird. Like technically speaking, the pitch is a measurement of like how far the propeller would travel in a medium when it spins around once. And so a 1610 versus a 1608, even though the 1610 only has 2 blades, it's more pitchy. So those 2 blades are at a steeper angle so that it travels further. And like that's really what it feels like. Every time I do this, every time I test these bi-blades versus the tri-blades versus the quad blades, the bi-blades make more power and feel like they make more power. Sometimes when I get up to the quad blades, it maybe kind of feels like it could potentially have a little bit more power, but like those props are so heavy that the PID loop then performs like ass, and it's just, it just doesn't fly that good. Like the bi-blades are just so light, and they have a really good amount of pitch. They just fly better. Like I wish that there were lightweight tri-blades with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft that I could run, because these motors are all a little bit too low of a KV, but there just aren't any. And drilling out 1 millimeter propellers up to 1.5, it's probably not going to be balanced. Like you can, the right way to do it is to drill them 1 millimeter, 1.1 millimeter, 1.2 millimeters, 1.3 millimeters, 1.4, 1.5, which is super annoying. And by the point that you've done that, like it's probably not going to be perfectly balanced, and that's really important. So our propeller selection is super limited with the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft motors. But I mean, just in general, there aren't many good. We have a bunch of good 1.2 millimeter, 1.2 inch propellers now, but there just aren't many good 1.6 inch mil props. So yeah, we're still in this hole of like not having a lot of good prop options, and the Gemfan 1610s are really, really, really good. And so yeah, we're kind of stuck. It's very annoying. It's very, 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 very annoying. I really wish there was a good lightweight pitchy tri-blade. I'm going to be bugging the shit out of Mike from Gemfan, for the record. Brains Baked Beans putting the CiottiFPV.com link into the chat. Thank you, dude. Cole Powers tagged me and said, no, you technically right. 50 to 60 field updates on every other scan line means 25 to 30 frames. The fields alternate, carrying half the image interlaced. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. The way that they come in is every other. I forgot about that. Yeah. Limit says, is it possible to adjust that? That's why when you look at it in half frame rate, the image ever so slightly jitters up and down, because it's really hard to see, but it's there. Limit says, is it possible to adjust the brightness of a RunCam Nano 3? It is not. But I've recently realized that I've got a couple of Happy Model AIOs where something happened to them, and the image brightness, the image is very dark in them. And yeah, like something happened to the OSG chip or the VTX or something like that. Like they're broken. I was blaming the cameras for a little while there. But yeah, something has happened. So if you've got the RunCam Nano 3 should be plenty bright. The exposure algorithm in there works really, really well. So if it doesn't look right, if it looks dark to you, your AIO might have shit the bed. And with these AIOs, right, like we're cramming everything in there and they're getting really hot. So yeah. Scotty's YouTube did the thing. Holy hell. I'm going to scroll back up. But Kevin James, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, motor fund or gallon of ice cream for you and the family. It's going to be a gallon of ice cream because Fiddies135 did a $50 super chat for the Zing 1002 fund. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much, Fiddies. We can... I leave the funds completed for at least the rest of the live stream. But next stream, we're going to be able to roll this right into a BetaFPV 1102 fund. Dude, thank you, fellas. Damn. I'm going to have the shits tomorrow because my stomach can't handle ice cream. I'll get some other ice cream. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Fiddies. Very, very cool. Super generous. Damn, you guys are the best. As always, you guys are always the best. Cole Pat, no, I got that. Scotty Scott says, I will miss the Miata, but I have a 2012 SLK 350 to ease my pain. Yeah, that'll ease the pain for sure. Bora Jovanovic says, you promised me once, how do you set to have low battery warning while OSD turned off? Bora, you asked me on the Friday live stream, and I went through it. So yeah, refer back to the Friday live stream. I took you step by step. I showed you exactly how to do it. You must have asked, and then by the time I read your question, you'd already jumped off the stream. You asked this time at 3:51. It's now 4:20 almost. So you're probably not here again, but I answered it for you on Friday's live stream, my friend. Right9 says, something in your goatee, bit of bread, waited 1 hour to tell you. No, that's gray hair. I was on a Skype call the other day, and I guess I'm used to it being on this side, but Skype reverses the image, and so it was on this side. I have like a little cluster of gray hairs here, and on the Skype call, what it looked like was it looked like this. It looked like the hairs had just separated, you know, and like my skin was showing. So on the Skype call, I start going like this, and I'm like doing it more and more, and it won't go away. And I noticed that I was on a call with Chris, and I noticed Chris was he started to notice. And so I had to like explain what was happening. And like as I was about to start explaining what was happening, I realized that it was just this little bundle of gray hairs. And I just stopped. I was like, it's gray hairs. And I explained the situation to Chris, and he got a giggle out of it. But yeah, it's I'm about to turn 43 years old, and I'm finally getting enough gray hairs that they're becoming noticeable. I've had a bunch up here for a while, but they kind of blend in. But yeah, I'm assuming that you're talking about this right here because it looks like there's something, but no, it's just gray hairs. And I won't cut them or pick them out because I'm celebrating getting old. Damn it. I'm happy that I got this far. Kevin the Alien says, limits RunCam graciously updated the firmware and said, oh wait, no. That's Riot9 tagged me and said, oh, I got that. Jesus. Dub Squared says, have you tried that 1102 setup with a Beta 75 Pro frame and 45mm props? Curious if the slightly bigger props would give it even more oomph. Tried 1102 on 40mm a year ago and hated it. I have not tried that. I'm very tempted to try it, but I am not impressed with the 75 Pro setup. The propellers are not all that well balanced. The tri-blades are awful. The bi-blades are not as awful, but they don't seem to still be, and I've heard from a bunch of people that they're not well balanced. And then the 75 Pro frame is just like outrageously heavy. So more than likely I will try it because I just have to try everything or else I literally can't sleep at night. So at some point I will probably try it. We'll see. The bi-blades didn't seem to be that poorly balanced. A lot of people are just like, yeah, all of the 45mm props are horrendously balanced. It didn't see the tri-blades, sure. But the bi-blades did not seem to be that bad when I had them on these Zing 1002s. I've also had them on the Flywoo 1002s. So yeah, maybe they're okay. But yeah, this frame is like over 5 grams heavier than any of the 1.6 inch frames, and I'm really trying to keep the weight down on this thing so that it can crash better. But yeah, we'll see. Apparently these Meteor 75 Air frames are not super durable, so inevitably I'm gonna break this, and then I'll have to take the motors off of it, and that'll be sort of like the perfect chance to just drop it into this 75 Pro frame. And hey, maybe this 75 Pro frame is really strong. That's the other thing that I want to kind of test. I'm willing to deal with the extra weight if the frame is bulletproof. I bet you it's not, but we'll find out together. But yeah, for right now, it's in lightweight setup. And yeah, I tried to fly a jungle gym on the way home, but 2 neighborhoods in a row were gated, and I couldn't get in to fly, so that's gonna have to wait, but it's coming soon. CMYK with the CiottiFPV.com link, thank you, dude. MoFPV says, is that Walksnail camera mount you've been using going to be available as an STL? It is indeed. I would love to try one. Yep, Timmons is making some final finishing touches, and then it'll be available. It's so good, man. I cannot wait for you guys to use it. It's just the simplest, cleanest. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Upside says, when are you getting the Avata 2? When the price comes down to a couple of $100. So, never. The Avatas are unbelievable pieces of kit, but they are way outside of my price range. In theory, the regular Avata, the camera quality is not quite good enough. Like, it just made no sense to spend any money on it when you can carry around a GoPro and get better quality flight footage. The original Avata also, there is no way of instantaneously disarming it. It decides when it wants to disarm. So if you get it tangled up in someone's hair, you can't immediately disarm it. And that is a full-blown liability. Like, that is unsafe to fly in any situations that people are around, and kind of the only reason to get a rig that's guarded like that is to fly it when people are around. So hopefully the Avata 2 has a proper disarm setup. I bet you it doesn't, in which case, again, it's a complete liability, and anybody that's using it on set should be beaten with a stick, because you're going to ruin it for all of us. People are already afraid enough about drones. The last thing that we need is FPV pilots that are supposed to be professionals hurting someone because... let me not go on a rant about the damn thing. If the camera quality is up to par with GoPro, it'll be really, really interesting. But without an instantaneous way to disarm the thing, I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, it just seems so sketchy. That just seems so goddamn dangerous, man. I don't know. Scotty Stott says, call your Jungle Gym basher Jungle JB. Jungle JB. What? Somebody. I would love to see an image of Jungle Joshua Bardwell. Upside says Avata 2 fund equals 888. Nah, man. Nah, we get things old. We get things after the fact around here. We never get things brand new. So, we'll see. CMYKFPV says, is the Mac issue from sleep mode? You can enter terminal and type caffeinate, press enter. It's not. No, I have no sleep mode issues. It's just, and like the hard drives, now that I have amphetamine set to drive saver, the hard drives have not spun down. And you'll notice at the exit of the stream, I'll play a file from one of these hard drives, and it won't stutter and stop like that. Yeah, I think we're good now, because I'm willing to run stupid, ugly icons. Troy Preleg says, search RDQ, Happy Model Gemfan 1610, Biblade 40mm, Micro Whoop, 4-pack gray. What What? I've been looking for them for a long time. What? What? Are you kidding me? Props. 40 millimeter. So the gray ones have a 1 millimeter shaft. It's when you go to the 1.5 millimeter shaft that it forces you into blue. Four pack. Which one? Is it this one? Yeah, see, that's a 1 mil shaft. I bet you they just have a typo. I mean, you're right. It does say. Man, I just did an order from here too. I'm gonna leave this open, and I'm just gonna order these at some point. Why would they? Oh, 4-pack versus 8-pack. Interesting. If they've been here the whole time, I'm gonna shit a brick. I'm gonna actually shit a brick. It's gonna. Never mind. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this open. Wait, maybe in the reviews does it say like, what the hell? These aren't a 1.5 millimeter shaft? That's questions. Where are the reviews? How do I look at? There we go. No, the reviews are worthless. That's fine. I'm gonna buy them regardless. All right. Thank you, dude. Good find. Good all of the things. Gert Jan X is in the house. He says, when are you maybe going to build another 3-inch rig live? Sooner than later. I'm going to build a 2.5-inch rig this week for chasing cyclists. I don't know if I'm going to do it live. Probably. And then when the Quadmula Siren F3 comes back in stock, I'm going to build one of those live for sure. And there's a chance that I'm going to build the new Newbie Drone 3-inch rig live. So yeah, coming soon. Now that the weather is getting nice, we're going to, as we do every year, kind of transition a little bit away from Tiny Whoops. There's still going to be a lot of Tiny Whoop content because every time it rains, you can fly your Tiny Whoops. And they're so easy to build and they're so fun. But yeah, there's going to be more 3-inch stuff coming. Arend FPV says, what motor size and KV would you recommend for a 2S 2.5-inch toothpick? I answered that probably about an hour ago. Upside says, is it Christmas Day? Feels like it some days. Boondock Striker says, I have a motor that drops out of the sky. It doesn't do it when plugged into BetaFlight. I switched it out to a different side, and it still does it on the other side, just not in BetaFlight. Throw it in the river, dude. Don't troubleshoot it for another millisecond. Get rid of that motor, buy a replacement motor, and move on with your life. It's just not worth. It's just not worth troubleshooting around it anymore, and it's not worth trying to fix it. Just get rid of it. Motors are cheap. Even if you fix it, it's probably going to happen again. Get rid of it. Christopher says the make is power saving. Before deleting the file for it, Google it. Follow along with someone. I think we're good. Jamie Lee FPV says, what do you think about the new Mobula 6 2024 frame? Is it worth the upgrade from the old frame? Do you know the weight of it? The Mobula 6 2024 frame is my second favorite. The Newbie Drone Cockroach 65 V3 is still my absolute favorite. The Happy Model frame is 0.2 of a gram lighter than the Newbie Drone frame, but the propellers do not perfectly spin around the inside of the duct. They spin low on the duct. So when you hit stuff, the duct pops up over the propeller and the propeller slams into the little supports. And that just gobbles up the leading edge of the propeller, which is just kind of annoying. Yeah. Also, it's a little bit more flimsy than the newbie drone frame. The way the ducts are designed, they have this really nice three-dimensional curve to them, and that makes the ducts really strong for what they are. Yeah, either frame is phenomenal. You will not hate either one, but I like the newbie drone frame ever so slightly more. But yeah, can't go wrong with the other one. What a name. Girthquake says, oh, YouTube just did the thing. Hold on. Scrolling back up to find Girthquake's comment. He says, sounds like if they made higher pitch propellers for the 1.6-inch biblade, it would have the weight savings but tri-blade performance. Absolutely. I would love... So the current 1.6-inch biblade is a 1610. I would kill a child for a 1620 or even like a 1615. Oh, would that be nice? Sandurpa FPV says, question, recently addressed a whoop race and my analog camera was blowing out on the green LED gates. They showed like a bright blob instead of the gate. Do you recognize, and is there a fix? I've never heard of that. Green is not usually a color that cameras have a hard time with. Red is one of the hardest colors for cameras to deal with. Are other pilots having that same problem? If other pilots are not having that same problem, I would replace your camera. I've never heard of that problem, so I'm going to blame the camera. Luckily, tiny whoop cameras are infinitely inexpensive. So yeah, grab a replacement camera, throw it on there. I bet you the problem will be, will go away. Christopher Conrad says, you have to make a mold and a drill press. This makes the hole exact every time. Yeah. Kebab from FPV Cycle made this little kit here way back when that's designed to drill out 1.5 millimeter props to 2 millimeters. It has to be a T-mount propeller, though. It uses the T-mount holes to properly center the prop. I would love if somebody would be able to figure out a setup like that but without T-mount, most of our props don't have the T-mount holes. It would be incredibly difficult. So yeah, I'm not gonna hold my breath. Riot9 says, wasn't a gray hair, man. It was on the bottom. It fell off. Oh, cool. That makes me feel better. I'm not that old. Scuffed FPV says, is the lightweight setup a Mobula 7 frame? I'm not sure which lightweight setup you're talking about, but I only run two 75mm frames on the Walksnail rigs. I'm running the Meteor 75 Air frame to try to save as much weight as possible. I've heard that this frame is not very durable, though. And then, so I can use this frame because on these Walksnail builds, I run the BetaFPV cross-style AIO. On my analog Jungle Gym Basher builds, I run either the X12 Happy Model AIO or the F4 5 amp, and they don't fit in the Meteor 75 Air frame, so I use the Mobula 7 V4 frame, which might be a little bit more durable. So I'm actually fine with it. It's a gram heavier, which I don't love, but it's been super, super, super durable for me. Technically, I could modify the Meteor 75 Air frame. I would need to grind away a bunch of material right in here where it drops down into the battery tray. I've been told that this frame isn't all that durable, though, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to keep running the Mobula 7 V4 frame. It's been really good to me. Yeah. And removing that material from that frame... well, no, the other thing that I could do is run taller grommets, which I might actually do at some point, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I love that the Meteor 75 Air frame is a gram lighter, I got to be honest, so I'll probably play around with it. Frank Nicholas says, please stop the FUD about the Avata and disarming, long time proven false. Every DJI quad I've owned can be instantly disarmed. I've yet to see that. I've yet to see an Avata instantly disarm. Every single time I've ever seen Avata disarm, it there's a delay. There's a delay to the actual disarming. So prove it. DJI Avata instantly disarming. I mean, like, how do I prove this? How do I get my Avata to instantly disarm? What say you, Google? It's showing me a takeoff in manual mode video. Is that it? Do you have to be flying it in manual mode? I mean, that would be great. That would be absolutely great. But yeah, I've never seen it. And I've seen a bunch of instances of it not instantly disarming. And that scared the living hell out of me. I don't really watch Avata videos. So it would kind of make sense that I wouldn't have seen any where it does instantly disarm. I mean, Frank obviously knows what's what, and it sounds like he has one, so I will take his word for it. But I'm assuming that you have to be in manual mode, which is fine. You know, any one of us are going to fly the damn thing in manual mode. So that's good. Maybe Avata 2. If the sensor in the Avata 2 is really good, which I think it's looking like it will be, there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of benefits. It would feel really wrong to run a DJI bind and fly rig for work. But hey, man, incredible range, incredible runtime, adjustable up tilt, better sensor than GoPro potentially. Kind of have to start running it. Brandon's White Bean says, with the Avata and all FPV drones, you double tap the right start stop button while in manual mode. There's manual mode. Using the twin stick controller, and I think you need to have emergency disarm enabled. Wow, okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that you have to do, and so you have to double tap. That's, I guess, I don't know. It's I don't know. Frank Nicholas said that sucks, but yeah, I guess you could get used to it. Frank Nicholas says, drive issue spinning down. Buy better USB drives. It's a drive problem. I've got 3 different manufacturers of drives, Samsung, and then I think 2 different Western Digitals, and it does it on all of them. Is there somebody better than Samsung or Western Digital that I should be looking at? That's super annoying because I've got like 20 terabytes of drives. It would really suck to have to rebuy all of them. And I'm going to jump off the goddamn roof if I rebuy all of them and the problem persists. Brandon's Baked Bean says, you can also remap the toggle switch to be arm and disarm on the Avata. So there is that option. But you have to go into the menu to set up. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. So a toggle switch disarm. I guess the other issue with the Avata is there's not a good controller. But apparently there's like one DJI controller that is pinchable and is half decent. So, yeah, I don't know. Upside says, today is not Christmas Day. Hint, hint. Today is April 7th. 4/7. Am I missing a joke? Right 9 says, say the date. It's not Christmas. Folks are getting creative trying to... Oh. I get it. Smooth brain over here. Denzel says, Merry Christmas. I got it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Crom says, can't you make your own 1620 with a heat gun and a bit of twisting? PC is a thermoplastic. 1620. Can't you make your own 1620? What the hell is a 1620? What's 1620? Can you make your own 1620? A heat gun and a bit of twisting? PC is a thermoplastic. 1620. Oh, 1620 propeller. I mean, you wouldn't even need a heat gun. Like, you can just take a propeller and just twist the shit out of one of the blades and it'll stay. The problem is you would have to perfectly twist every single blade. If one blade has a little bit more pitch than the other, the propeller starts to vibrate. Yeah, there'd be no way to do it and maintain the balance of the propeller, unfortunately. Which doesn't necessarily make much sense. Like, you would think, like, the weight, like, you would think that you could take a blade and like twist it 90 degrees and the weight hasn't been thrown off, but I guess what's happening is one of them is going to make more thrust than the other, so every time around it's pushing harder than the other one, and that's going to create a vibration, I guess. But yeah, if there are certain propellers that when you crash, they'll bend all up, and when you can bend them back pretty straight, but the pitch will be wrong, and that propeller will never not vibrate. Your Majesty says 1102 22,000 better than 1002 or 1003, same KV on your Walksnail builds. So far, yes, but I've only tested the iFlight Zing 1002 22,000 and the Flywoo 1002 23,500. I have 3 RC and Power 1002 22,000s on the way. I got to find a 4th. I have a full set, I think. Might actually, no, I have 3 1003 22,000s also coming on the way. And then I'm working on getting my hands on an 0803. But we'll talk more about that in the future. Sanderpa FPV says, I ended up switching to my HD0 Eco build. Same result. The blowout was showing the most on green LED gates. Red and blue was just fine. You know what? Now that I think about it, you know what might be happening? Green LEDs are really bright. And so maybe that has something to do with it. That's weird, man. I don't race, so I just don't know. You know, I have like the LED gates in the basement here, but I have them set to just red and white. So yeah, I just don't know, man. I would ask Tiny Whoop Racers. Tiny Whoop Racers are constantly running through gates that are usually on crazy rainbow mode. So yeah, I would ask some Tiny Whoop Racers. Jamie Lee FPV says, I would love it if you build the best possible sub 250 drone you can, analog. I've been doing that for about 8 years, Jamie Lee. That is like, I have spent so many hundreds, if not thousands of hours refining sub 250 rigs. There is just tons and tons and tons of content here on the channel. Over the last like 6 months, we've been doing loads of Tiny Whoop stuff because it's been Tiny Whoop season. Yeah, and so here's the other thing, right? Like, there is no best possible sub 250 drone. There's just no such thing. There is no best. There's just different. What I might think is the best 250 sub 250 drone is going to be completely different than every single person watching this stream. So get the like, remove the whole best thing from your vocabulary. It just doesn't exist. There are a million different things that makes one rig great to one person and potentially terrible to another person, right? One of the services that I offer over on Fiverr is build planning. And we spend a half an hour or an hour, and the first like 20 minutes or so is me just rapid firing questions. Who's your favorite pilot? Where do you fly? How often do you fly? How often do you crash? What do you crash into? What do you do with your footage? I have like 20 some odd questions. Without the answers to those questions, I don't have a hope in hell of getting you into a rig that might approach best for you. The reason that we custom build these things is so that we can specifically tailor it to our exact situation. The exact locations that we fly, how hard we crash, how often we crash, what we crash into, what we're doing with the flight footage, all these things, right? I've developed this like massive repertoire of questions that's not the right use of repertoire, but yeah. And so like I've done, and this is one of the reasons that I really prefer long form media, is that there is no one size fits all solution. It has to be a conversation, right? So Folks that come into the chat and say like, yo, I built a 265 gram rig. I'm on 1804s. I don't know if that's like maybe too big or too small. Like, it starts a conversation that we have where I try to educate you guys to understand how to build the perfect rig for you. I would love to do 5 sessions with every single one of you, but that's completely unrealistic. And so the way for me to get you guys into the headspace that I've been able to get into over just years and years and years and years and years and years of doing this is to just educate you on how stator size affects flight feel, how KV affects stator size, what it feels like when magnets get too hot, which motor sizes are definitely bad and you should definitely stay away from, like 1507s and 1408s, right? So yeah, for like, this is why live streaming is for me. The only way for me to, there's just too many options. There's so many options. Like with 5-inch rigs, it's a lot more narrow, but it's still there. Like there's still not a one size fits all solution. Like, you know, you start watching a pilot that you love to watch them fly, and you build their exact rig. That's not the right rig for you. It just isn't. You're a different person than they are. They probably crash way more often than you do if they're a good pilot. One of the things you have to do to become a good pilot is to crash a ton. So yeah, there just is no best. But luckily, I've talked for hundreds of hours about sub 250 rigs here on the channel. Just not super recently. You're gonna have to go back a little bit farther. Use the little search field, the little magnifying glass on my channel, and start searching for 3-inch, 3.5-inch, and you'll come across tons of live streams with loads of info. And now, as we're getting into the warm season, I'll be talking more about it. And ask any questions that you've got about it. I you know, if you tag me, I read it and I answer it. So, Frank Nicholas says, you've never personally disarmed an Avata. I haven't, but I've talked to a whole number of people that I trust and I know are intelligent people that have had the thing not disarm. And yeah, I guess they hadn't figured out the going in to enable emergency disarm, and then maybe they hadn't figured out that they have to be in manual mode. Frank Nicholas also says, though, that manual mode is not required for Avata disarm. Good. And then Frank says, show a bunch of videos. I've only seen 2, and they are popular. I think we've gotten to the bottom of it, so we're good. I was wrong. I apologize. I'm wrong all the time. It happens. The only way to learn shit is to be wrong. If you're never wrong, you're never learning anything, and that's a bad place to be. And everybody hates people that are never wrong, so don't be never wrong. It's cool to be wrong. Hat Trick with a $2 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, any 31, 40, 45 millimeter prop whoop that justifies 12 amp versus 5 amp. Not yet. I've still yet to cook a 5 amp FET because I've overloaded it with motors or propellers that are making too much power. But we continue to throw more KV and more motor size at these things, so eventually it'll happen, but we're not there yet. Frank Nicholas says, I have 8 external USB drives on one M1 Mac Mini farming Chia Visual Crypto, stopping soon. No spin down issue on any of them. Cheaper / lower cost external storage, generally trouble. 8 external USB drives. I seem to have fixed the issue, so we're good. I'm not going to throw a bunch of money at a problem that doesn't exist anymore. But that's wild. That's wild that all of these hard drives are, yeah, I don't know. That's super. I'm even more frustrated now. Crom says 1620, perhaps I got there eventually. Scuffed FPV says you could twist it with a printed jig. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not confident that you'd be able to get them balanced. It's a super interesting idea, but yeah, I don't know. VPro says, sounds like you need a separate NAS for storage. Pre-built ones like Synology are easy to set up and offer redundancy. so you don't lose data when one of the drives dies. I think I've seen NAS stuff, and I think it's extremely expensive. I'm on a super tight budget. So, but yeah, I think we're good to go. Frank Douglas says USB hubs can also affect USB drive spin down. Better USB hubs powered may stop the problem. Both of the USB hubs that I have are powered, and I've cycled the drives around from one hub to the other, and the problem has persisted. So they are. I do tend to buy cheap stuff though, so that could very well be the problem. But yeah, Steve Jobs says, "What do you think about Reny screws?" I love that they exist. I love that there is an just barely significant weight savings. I ran them on a whole bunch of rigs, and then when I was at the RC drift car chasing place, I had a motor let go, and I just wanted to switch the motor out real quick. Well, I tried to get the Reny screws out, and the head stripped on them. At that point, because of the way the Reny screws sit up into the duct, into the motor mount base, at that point I had to break the motor off to remove the motor, and then the threads for the Reny screws were stuck inside the stator holes. And the whole experience, I just went, you know what? Fuck these things, and I took them all out. It's not quite enough of a weight. Look, here's the other thing too. The Newbie Drone Cockroach 65 V3 frame comes with super short, very lightweight little screws. And the weight savings first of all, you can't even get Reny screws that are this short that I've ever really seen. Yeah, I'm sure you can get them, but they're not like easily available. You're gonna have to buy like a bag of 100. It's gonna cost you a fortune. But yeah, the super short, super lightweight screws in the Cockroach V3 65. That's my solution. And then I don't have to deal with any of that nonsense. If you're going to run Reny screws, there apparently is a specific screwdriver that you need to get for those Reny screws so that you don't strip them out like me. It's not enough of a weight savings. Apparently, they do still break. The hot setup, from what I've heard, is you run one metal screw on the outside and then two Reny screws on the inside. But apparently, those Reny screws do eventually still break. When they break, those threads are jammed inside the stator. It's just too annoying, and it's not enough of a weight savings, but I love that they exist. And yeah, if I had a rig that I wasn't going to crash a lot, I would run them because it's free weight savings. Your Majesty with a $20 super chat. He says, more motors. Dude, there's going to be another gear fund on the next live stream for another set of motors, and hopefully I will remember to add $20 to it instantly. Thanks to you, Your Majesty. Thank you, dude, for the support. Much appreciated. Hat trick as well. Thank you, dude. PD Puff FPV says, correct about the Avata not disarming. Here we go. There is an option to disarm, but if you crash or slam the ground hard, the Avata can get a mind of its own and become non-responsive to the controller. And that is the behavior that I've seen a bunch of times that has scared the living shit out of me. So I don't know. Look, I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. I don't have an Avata. Hopefully there is a way to instantly disarm it in all cases. It's too expensive for me anyway, so I don't need to know. But if you ever plan on flying an Avata around people, please confirm for 1,000% certainty that no matter what, you can instantly disarm that. Because if you put that into somebody's hair and it will not instantly disarm, you are going to ruin it for the entire FPV community. All it takes is one of these things to go into the exact wrong person's hair and for it to end up on the news for, like, we're already, it feels like any day the FAA can just be like, you know what? No more for any of us. The last thing that we need to do is give them ammunition. So please, for God's sake, there are a bunch of us that rely on being able to fly these things for our livelihood. Please, if you're going to fly one of these things around people, confirm and figure out and practice instantly disarming the damn thing. It is scary shit. The FPV Shed says, biggest issue with Avata is not being able to repair yourself. Yeah, that's a pretty big issue. They are pretty durable, though. I will give them that. I can build a Cinewhoop that can carry a GoPro, fly 20 times better, get better footage, and fly exactly how I want it to. No contest. The current Avata, I'm with you on most of that stuff. Fly 20 times better, I don't know about that. In certain situations, sure, but there are things about the way the Avata flies that are mind-blowing. And the adjustable up tilt is a game changer in a lot of ways. The Avata 2 is potentially going to have a really impressive sensor that is possibly better than GoPro. So, better image quality than GoPro, better runtime, just like for the weight of it, you cannot build a Cinewhoop that is the same weight as an Avata that will get the same runtime. You just can't. DJI does crazy shit with their batteries, like overcharging that, like hugely overcharging them. So yeah, the Avata is king of runtime, and there's just that's just the way it is. You can get the same range by just running 03 in your setup. So yeah, the range doesn't you can get from a custom build, but yeah, there's the potential that the Avata 2 for a working professional is better than a custom built Cinewhoop. I don't want to say that. That's horrifying. I hate that more than anything, but that there's the potential for that to be true. I'm on your side, FPV Shed, but yeah, the facts is the facts. We'll see. Kevin James says, can we talk turbos and nitrous via Fiverr? I don't know that I could talk strictly drones for an hour. Sure, I don't know a lot about turbos or nitrous. I've always had naturally aspirated cars, but I know more than 99% of people. So yeah, I never dove all like I can't. I don't like, for example, a GT350, GT340R, which is a really popular turbo. I don't know what the size of the compressor or the compressor housing is, and a lot of car guys do. Like, those are car guys that really know turbos. Like, they know how to size them properly for different sized engines and shit like that. I don't know that kind of stuff, but I do know a good amount about them. Talk about whatever you want. Walter Van Den Ord says, cool to be bad. Scuffed FPV says, is there any way to get the 0802 35,000 kV motors in Europe without having suicidal thoughts from paying egregious import fees? So there are no 802 35,000s. There are 25,000s. There are also 33,000s. There are 25,000. 25,000. Does it jump all the way up to? No. There's 25,000. There's 27,000. There's 30,000. There's 33,000. I have no idea. I don't. Every time I have to ship to Europe, it's like $30-something. So yeah, I don't know. To my knowledge, the really high KV 802s are only sold through TinyWhoop. So yeah, ask them if there's any way. I'm sure they would have the cheapest. I'm sure they already have the cheapest possible overseas shipping. So yeah, not looking good. Sorry, brother. Shankenwhoop, that's a name, says, in your opinion, do low-powered motors generally need more PID gains than motors that generate more power? It's not just an opinion. That's just a fact. A lower-powered motor will take longer to spin the propeller up. The PID loop and the PID gains, let's just put it this way, as you increase the PID gains, it spins the motor up earlier. And so there's your crossroads. This is why when you put on high, if you put like an aggressive PID tune on a rig and then you put on more powerful motors, you will have to almost always back that PID tune off. It's just sort of the way that it works. When you increase the PID gain numbers, it attacks bad behaviors earlier. A motor that makes more power will more quickly spin up the propeller, and that will more quickly attack bad behaviors, right? So it's, yep, that's just how it works. FPV Toast says, do you know of a 3D printed mount that will hold a TBS Unify Nano and a CO3 or a Nano 3 camera? I just smashed the canopy on my last working Whoop. I don't. Most of the 3D printed mounts just hold cameras. I don't know of any that also hold the VTX. Usually what I see people do is they'll VHB, double-sided tape, the VTX to the bottom of their AIO. There's a little pocket of space above the battery but below the AIO. Look at like any racing build, any Tiny Whoop racing build, they all do this. And it's super slick. Hell, I've done it. You can watch me do it. Don't go to someone else's channel. Stay here. If you come in here and if you use the little search field and search for BetaFPV freestyle whoop, I bet you that'll find it. Oh, fart! Not ADA-FPV. Beta. Oh! What about BetaFPV and whoop? Oh no, I got 2 B's in beta. Hey! No, that's not it. Here it is. The ultimate freestyle. Oh, wow, this is 3 years ago. The ultimate freestyle Tiny Whoop build. In this build. Oh, you son of a bitch. Well, we're here. Yeah, in this build, you'll see me do it. I mean, yeah, there I'm doing it. Maybe. Nope. Never mind. Hey, look, there's a mount that holds the VTX and the camera, but this is an old mount made for a canopy, a Tiny Whoop canopy that's a little bit fragile. So don't do this mount. This is also not the video that you want to watch. You don't need to watch a video. You put the VTX on the bottom, dead center. You'll see. You'll be good. You'll be all right. Run the wires nice and short. You won't add that much weight. The nice guy says your mom. Great. The nice guy also says how many... Okay, so the nice guy gets to go away forever. And bye-bye! Although that's an interesting question. How many times do you shower a week? Usually 3-ish. Sometimes 4. I don't shower every day, though. That's a waste. I don't get all sweaty, though. If you get really sweaty every day, you should maybe shower every day. But nice guys being a douchebag, and douchebags go away forever. That's just the way it works. Hide user on this channel. Bye-bye. What's next? What do we got here? Cold Power says, do you think we could make a hobby FPV drone that can take... Ooh! DJI Avata batteries. That's a really good idea, actually. Yeah. Yeah. We could absolutely do that. We would just need a way of securing them. You could probably just run a strap around them. So the Avata kit... Oh no, you reuse the plug. Here's one of the Avata kit... The Avata kit doesn't matter. You would need to source the plug. They use a very specific plug on the back of the battery. So you would need to get that. But that's really it. I think they're 4S, but they crazily overcharge the cells. So I think it might output like 5S voltage, but whatever. BetaFlight will handle that. So yeah, you just need to source the plug, and then you could just battery strap the damn thing down with grip on the bottom and 2 battery straps. It ain't going nowhere. Interesting. I never thought about that. Frank Nicholas says, DJI overcharging batteries, more DJI fear uncertainty. I don't know about that, man. Joshua has called that out on multiple occasions, and the most recent time I heard him talk about it, he said that he'd heard that specifically from someone at DJI, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, he's mentioned that multiple times. Not my experience when checking voltage of batteries or flying 3 different DJI platforms, Phantom 3 Pro, Mavic Pro Zoom, and Avata. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tested it myself, but I tend to believe Joshua, especially when he says something over and over and over again. But he could totally be wrong. If they're not doing that, it makes no sense how they get the runtime that they get. Their rig is not that much more aerodynamic. I don't know. It makes no sense how they get the runtime that they get. So it makes a lot of sense that they're doing something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Walter says, you can keep my gift. I don't want you to pay $37. I won the raffle. I will... Wait, I think I already mailed it out. I might have already mailed it out. Wait. No. Which raffle did you win? Which raffle did you win, Walter? I'm caught up. I've mailed everything out that needs to be mailed out. So I either already mailed it out or... yeah, I don't know. Boondock Striker says, when do you think we'll start to high volt batteries in 2 to 6S? I've seen them for RC car batteries. We've had high volt batteries for a while. Most people stay away from them because they just don't last as long. Like if a normal if a normal voltage battery you can charge and discharge, I don't know, 50 times, let's just say, before it's like worn out and ready to die, ready to be put out for death. A high volt battery, you can only charge and discharge like 30 times or 20 times. Like they and batteries aren't cheap. Well, they are, but yeah, most people don't run the high volt batteries. I have heard from a couple people though that the newer high volt batteries are a little bit better. There are a lot of high volt batteries available now. Like I haven't shopped for batteries in a while. I've been shopping for batteries over the last couple of weeks for this new 2.5-inch rig that's getting built this week. And I feel like half the batteries now, FPV batteries, are high volt. So yeah, we've already got loads of high volt batteries in the FPV world. And I'm very tempted to try some of them. But at the moment, I don't know. We'll talk about that this week. I'll talk more about batteries this week in reference to how I'm using them on these bicyclist chase rigs at these cycling events. Shank and Whoop with a $10 super chat. He says, thank you, dude. Very cool of you. The FPV Shed with a £4.99 super chat. He says, for a cheeky coffee at Rampage, Micro Madness. Awesome, dude. Hopefully I see you there. Hopefully I see a bunch of you guys there. Micro Madness is going to be awesome this year, just like it was last year, but it was pretty awesome last year. Thank you, Shankin. Thank you, FPV Shed. FPV's host said, I'll just jam it underneath. I see what you mean. Thanks. There you go, brother. Steve Jobs says, I'm going to buy a prop puller from Tiny Whoop. Anything else you recommend putting my cart? Ooh, boy, do I ever. Well, here's what I really recommend. All of you, next time you do a Tiny Whoop order, pull the window out like this. Go to store. Hold either command or control and just open up tabs for the entire website. I'm serious. Open up the entire website and then spend the next hour or two of your life going through the entire website. There is so much cool shit on Tiny Whoop's website. And this is also one of the ways that I learned early days of FPV. I learned a lot by looking through entire websites and just there's the people that run websites know a lot about FPV, and they have to write descriptions, and they put lots of really good info in all of these descriptions. This is a super good thing to do every once in a while, is just work through an entire website, look at the whole damn thing. You'll find a bunch of cool stuff that you didn't even know existed, that you didn't even know you needed, and you'll just learn a lot. And so yeah, do it. That is a big recommendation. And Tiny Whoop is a perfect website to do that on because they have tons of cool stuff, but they're not so big. Like, trying to do that on GetFPV sucks. It's too big. It'll take like a week. I've done it. It takes like 2-3 hour shifts multiple days in a row. It's brutal. It's really cool to do it, and you'll find stuff that you didn't know that you needed that but 6S1 says, no, DJI batteries are smart batteries. They need communication to be turned on. Oh, you're right. Fuck. Oh, yeah, you're right. The plug on the Avata battery, it's got ground and voltage, and then it has, I think it has 3 additional ports. Yeah, you're right. It's a smart battery. You don't turn the battery on, you turn the Avata on, you use the... Yeah. That stinks. Simon says, apparently the Avata 2 has a sport button that allows auto flips and rolls. Oh boy, here we go. Cole Powers says, anyone want to model a 3D print for adapting Avata batteries to an FPV frame? Let DJI and R&D do all the hard work on batteries and charging. We just eat up their old stock for amazing batteries. Yeah, it's not going to work. Although I bet you we could. I bet you somebody is smart enough to figure it out. 6S1 says, same reason you can't use non-DJI batteries on DJI quads. Yep, good call. Frank Nicholas says, oversharing, I think he meant to say overcharging batteries adds at most 10% runtime. Can't go from 5 minutes runtime to 30 minutes runtime by overcharging batteries. Yeah, it's true. It's all about efficiencies of the platform. I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but 30 minutes runtime on the Avata is just, at the weight that it's at the size propeller that it's at, on the motors that it runs, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. It's a miracle. DJI is working miracles. Frank Nicholas says, regarding overcharging batteries and longevity, I've not had a 6+ year old DJI battery fail. You know, that was one of the things that shocked me most when Joshua said that, is like, how the hell are they overcharging their batteries so much and still maintaining longevity? And I eventually kind of rectified it by like, well, they discharge themselves, so they're never, fully charged for more than like, I think, a week or so. And at one point, Joshua had mentioned that he might have been like assuming that they're doing weird stuff with the chemistry of the batteries. DJI is a big enough company where, they can do stuff like that, and they're also a big enough company where they're going to keep shit secret. So I just, that's why I thought that was true. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a DJI guy. So I'm the wrong guy to be talking about any of their stuff. Dan, but if you guys ask me questions, I'm going to try my best to answer them. Dan Dan says, thanks for replying to my email. I went crazy trying to fix my Hummingbird V3 VTX. Yeah, Dan sent me an email, Hummingbird V3 VTX problems, and it sounds like it's it's blown up. Scuffed FPV says, you're going to financially ruin me with these suggestions. Sorry, dude. I try really hard to make this stuff as cheap as possible. I really do. From day one I got into FPV when I was unemployed. And one of the reasons I got into it and moved away from motorsports is because I knew it was going to be way cheaper, and it is infinitely cheaper. A big part of the decision-making process for me with every piece of gear that I test and review and buy and run myself is cost. So, yeah. And a big part of the reason that I work so hard to find the stuff that's as good as possible is so that you can stop buying the wrong shit. And so I hope, on the whole, that I will actually save you money because I'll help you buy the right stuff. But yeah, seeing a guy on the internet fly a bunch of stuff does make you want to buy a bunch of stuff. Walter says, I got a code from you. I can put in your internet site. I did not look at it yet. Probably alcoholism is hardworking. Walter, that is a code for Newbie Drone. Has nothing to do with me. You put that code into Newbie Drone's website, and it'll subtract the $5 that you would normally pay for a Cockroach 65 V3 frame. you're going to get hammered on shipping. So yeah, I don't know if you're actually going to use that code, but hey, if you choose to use it, it has nothing to do with me. So you're good. Brandon's Baked Bean says DJI charges their cells to 4.5 volts. He also says, I don't know how they do it. Yeah, that's just, yeah, I don't, that's what I'd heard from Joshua. I don't know. Look, it doesn't matter. They do it, and that none of us can. So it is what it is. Scuffed FPV also says, I meant that, oh, oh yeah, no, okay, fair enough. Disclaimer, going through an entire website like that, I guarantee you that your shopping cart will be at least $200 before you get to the end of the website. It's on you to then go back and and cull a bunch of stuff. But yeah, going through an entire website, you will spend a shitload of money, 100%. Yeah, it's a good way to spend a bunch of money. Look, you're stimulating the FPV economy. You're doing a good thing, and you're helping everybody by doing it. We're over time already, but I have to do some of the look. The big thing, right? What's the title of the stream? BetaFPV 1102 22,000s RIP. We talked about them a lot. We still have to do #6 batteries though, and we obviously did Q&A. We are not going to swap the 603s over. We'll do that maybe tomorrow night. But I am going to fly 3 75mm rigs. This one is still broken, so it's going to be these 3. We're going to fly the analog Jungle Gym Basher, which is a Mobula 7 ELRS 1S with a motor swap, basically. These motors are 0802 30,000 kV. Fly that first, and then we're going to go Walksnail build, similar, 802 33,000 kV. Remember what I was saying about... Never mind, I'll tell you later. I won't tell you at all. God damn it. Remember what I was saying about when the ducts are too high, the leading edge of the propellers blast into the supports? That's what that looks like. That's a propeller that I've straightened back out with my fingernails. Before you've straightened it back out, that's what it looks like. It leaves those dents in the propeller. If possible, you want to try to find a frame where the propellers run around the middle of the duct, which is hard to find, unfortunately, but they are out there. And then the last thing we're gonna fly is the Walksnail rig on the BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors. So let's do it, friends. All my gear is still in my bag from the gig this morning. Hang on one second, please. Sorry. All right. Here's this. Oh man, I'm so sad. I dropped a ND filter on the fucking concrete today, and it chipped the corner of it. So I gotta put this on the desk here. I gotta remember to get a new ND8. I think this is ELRS 2.5, which needs that module, and then I need. Let's go old school, man. We're gonna go old school with some Fat Shark HD3s. And let's see if the VRX, yeah, it is. Does not need to be unplugged and plugged. That is a bonus. All right, analog Jungle Gym Basher. Here you go. 0802 30,000 kV motors. So this is the performance that I really, really, really want from a 75mm freestyle rig. This is the performance that I'm chasing on these Walksnail rigs. All right. Oh, helps if the transmitter is actually on. I'll leave the OSD on for you guys so you can see the amp rating. So this is that big box of lanyards that Broken Prop Crew sent me. all splayed out on the floor. I'm organizing them by type. Shout out to Broken Prop Crew, which used to be called Pretty Fly, for sending me a bunch of their old stock. They're shutting the store down. I think they already have. I'll tell you what, the more I fly these 75mm rigs in here, the better I get at it. Oh, God! But it still just doesn't make sense. Hello, Mr. Spaghetti! How are you, sir? It's on the ground, so he's Mr. Big Stuff. I love you, dog. That's it. Get it, buddy. Get it. Don't let it take off. So yeah, this is the perform. No! Don't you dare get stuck. No! No, no, no. No getting stuck. Yes. This is the performance that I'm after. At least this. I'm really looking forward to the 33,000 kV motors on this rig. But yeah, this is the jungle gym bashing performance that I'm really looking for. What is with all the fucking prop wash? I noticed it a little bit ago. Hold on. Let's get rid of some of this prop wash. Profile, simplified tuning. Oh, the D gains are really low. Let's see how much we can put in here. There, now it's gone. Cool. Why did I have those D gains so low? That's weird. Ooh. Oh, oh, easy. Oh, that fan tried to eat me, but we said, hell no, we won't go. Wish the fan was running. We could do our match the blades orbit. Oh, God! I didn't break anything in there. No, we're good. Oh, no! Falling down the stairs. Oh, no. Didn't even get in there. Yikes. These 75s come down. When I get to the bottom of the stairs, I just can't. I gotta just bail. Oh, shit! Oh, God! It's so crazy to fly these 75s in here and, like, realize that they don't really make any more power than the 65s. The 65mm rigs on these high KV 702s are just absurd. I got a bunch of up tilt. Look how high up I'm looking. Watch it. See, look how docile this dog is right now, right? When it's flying. Watch this. Watch this. Ready? As soon as it's... I guess he has, but it's like having a remote control dog. Holy shit, that's the funniest thing ever. Oh my god. A bunch of that runtime was at idle. Oh shit, that's good stuff right there. He's so tough when it's on the ground, but when it's in the air, like when it's in the air, he'll actually put his foot on top of my foot. I'm like, he'll lean against my shin a little bit, like, get that fucking thing away from me. But when it's on the ground, man, he's so brave. Holy shit. Oh, man, that was good. If you couldn't tell, I was just like, just ever so slightly touching the roll stick to just make the quad change pitch or sound or move at all. And that's when he was, yeah, freaking out. So that's the kind of performance. Gusto FPV says, careful, he's going to take a bite. So I've been flying around Teddy for months now. He is so good. Like, I haven't, like, hit him hard yet. I have hit him a couple times, but he's just so good with it. Like, he's exactly like you just saw. Like, he's all over it. But, like, and when I make it a point to take off, like, back, because he does lunge at it. But he has no interest in actually biting it. He did eat one of my, not eat, but he chewed up one of my True RC Singularities. I crashed and it popped off. And then by the time I got up, he must have seen it pop off. By the time I got up there, it was all chewed up. But he is incredible with the quads. Most dogs are not. Most dogs will just straight up eat these fucking things, but he's a good boy. He knows not to eat them. He loves them. I don't know if he loves them, but... Alright, now we're going Walksnail. Get a load of this. Wait till you see how different the performance is. The main difference is just the weight, man. The when you add the extra 6 grams for Walksnail, it just... 75 mil rigs are already too heavy. And then to add 6 grams really pushes it over the edge into absurdity. 75 mil rigs they're too heavy, and they're not developed enough. Like not all, but most of the Tiny Whoop development has gone into 65 millimeter rigs. So they're just similar to like 5-inch rigs. They're dialed in. The motors are perfectly sized now. The KVs are really good. And 75s just have not had the benefit of that much development quite yet. What is that? Oh, okay. Guess it helps if the battery's plugged in, eh? All right. There's that. Here comes this. So we're going to fly another set of 802s here, but now we've got Walksnail on board. And now we are at 33,000 kV instead of 30,000 kV. Which, when I was doing the testing on these rigs, absolutely made a difference. Like, going from 30 to 33 on this rig definitely helped. But it's still just not there. It's just... I love that the weight is a little bit lower on this than the 1102 rig, but it just does not have enough power. It does not have enough motor. Flying this thing inside does help. It's outside, it's a mess. Inside this rig is like almost... it's almost like viable or whatever, but it's still not. I'm still absolutely in love with the Newbie Drone foam for these Walksnail Avatar goggles, for the record. Here we go! That's full throttle, friends. That is full throttle right there. So let's go upstairs where you can really, really, really see the difference. This is also a little bit less up tilt, so I just need to get used to this a little bit. Where'd he go? He came down here, actually. All right, so full throttle. Oh God, yeah. So as you can see, it was this. I think this battery might. This battery might need to go away. I guess this is one of the batteries that I over discharged at some point. You could still fly it around, but yeah, it's a whole different thing, man. Oh, wow. I was full throttle for like 3/4 of a second to try to get it to not hit the island, and it still hit the island. So yeah, this is the 802 33,000s with an extra... Oh, fuck. Let's see if it comes back. I don't think that was it browning out. I don't know, that was weird. Here it comes. Yeah, I lost video at a weird point there. That was strange. We can fly this a little bit more down here, I'll bet. So, this is what happens on an 802. Let me actually do this. I just hit full throttle a couple times. Let me touch. Something about tiny whoop motors, like you can't touch them and feel that they're too hot. Yeah, it's weird, but I'm pretty sure that these 802s are overheating. They just don't feel hot when I pinch them. I don't know, but I've heard that from other people before. I could probably get a little bit more flight time out of these. It's on not this battery that at some point in its life I've obviously over discharged. This would be a little bit better, but it's still pretty similar to this. Look at that miniature schnauzer. With a fresh haircut too, man. Oh boy. Knocking stuff over and shit. Alright, this is about it. So, 2 minutes and 13, pushing it pretty hard. So the runtime is a dead giveaway. The runtime is a dead giveaway that these motors are getting too hot. When motors get hot, they get drastically less efficient. When they get too hot, they get drastically less efficient. Look what this rig raised. Watch the runtime that we're about to get from this 1102 rig. This is one of the most impressive things about these BetaFPV 1102s is the runtime you get from them. The rig we just flew is 30.8 grams. The rig that we're about to fly is 32.3 grams, all right? Almost 2 full grams heavier, but watch the difference in runtime. This is going to be skewed because this battery that I just ran on this thing is obviously not in the best shape, but the battery ran for a while, and it is now resting at 3.82. All right, so we brought it down to 3.82. I need to get another set of these 450s. I'm gonna put a red X on this battery. You don't have to throw it if you're a cheap bastard like me. You don't have to throw away the batteries that are starting to get hurt. But for the love of God, put like a red X or something on them so that you know when you put it on the rig that's the weak battery. Because like I'll still run this. Like I can still use this for testing, like a bench battery, stuff like that. But if I'm gonna do a test like this, I want to know that that's one of the weaker batteries. This is gonna be a fresh battery, which is gonna help. But still, you'll see. We're gonna go from like 2 minutes and change to probably over 3 minutes, even though it's heavier. And it's going to make a bunch more power right now. It's crazy. Oh, I almost Stevie Wondered this entire battery. Look at that handsome boy. Back up, handsome boy, so the people can see you. Back up so they can see that beautiful schnauzer haircut. I'm gonna eat you, dog! I'm gonna destroy you! So that nobody else can have you! First of all, look at the increase in responsiveness, right? Like that's really the thing that's been missing. But watch this. Look at the difference in. I actually have not flown this in the house yet. All right, so it's still heavy. I still hit the ground. But can you see how much more confident it is doing this big power move, right? Like it's still nothing like the 65mm rigs, right? But compared to what we just flew, night and day, you know what I'm saying? And like look at it dealing with prop wash and just like generally moving around. It's not like I'm flying a fucking school bus around. Like yeah, I'm really, really impressed by these motors. Shout out to MoFPV actually for turning me on to these motors. They've been out for a long time, and I've run BetaFPV 1102s before quite a bit. But this is their like new generation of them, and they're really good. Still a heavy rig. And the bearings in these motors make this funny, like, high-pitched screaming, which is probably not good. But hey. But yeah, like, even though this thing is 2 and a bit grams, or whatever it was, heavier, this is so much more flyable. Hey! Whoa, buddy! Relax! Ah! Like, I can actually fly this freestyle. Kinda. Ooh, buddy! When I had the, when I started testing some different propellers on these motors, that bearing screeching sound was so much worse. It was just flying through the air like... Woo, we got it. Ooh. See if we can get one last mag flip in. We good. Look at all those lanyards, yo. And goggle straps. Look at them all. The box was like 30 pounds, yo. Woo! Look at the runtime, my friends! Look at the fucking runtime! Wait, we're over discharging the battery. Look at the runtime! It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It kind of makes sense. The only way it makes sense is if it's a heat issue with the motors. This rig is heavier. Heavier rigs get less runtime. Period. But these motors must just be staying significantly cooler. That's the only thing that makes any sense. I don't get it. It's crazy. Over 3 minutes? What? How? Why? What? It's absurd. BetaFPV 1102 22,000s. Super impressive. Super, super, super impressive. Loose connection? No. It's not it. They're staying cooler. The 802s are getting too hot. The 6 grams of Walksnail is too much extra weight. And the 0802s are getting hot. You know, 8, again, always think about the ratio of height to width. The ratio of height to width is really important for how cool that motor is going to stay. 8 millimeters wide, 2 millimeters tall. That's pretty good. That's 4 to 1. 4 to 1 is pretty damn good. But 1102, 5.5 to 1. It's way better. And the wider the motor is, the more of the airflow that the motor bell is going to be in. I'm 99% sure that this is a... I ran this battery down to a little bit lower, 3.78 volts. So I did run the battery down a little bit lower than the other one, but still. Going from 2 minutes and 10 to 3 minutes and 10, I guess it was. That's gigantic. So yeah, I really think this whole thing... Did you see the Minecraft? Oh no, you saw them on these goggles. Yeah, I actually have a bunch of the Minecraft goggle straps. Message me. Here's the deal. If you want these goggle straps, they are freebies, but you got to buy something from my Etsy store. You got to buy something from me because I got to pay for shipping, and I don't want to just take $5 in shipping and send you a goggle strap or a lanyard. So look, you gotta buy 2 things from my Etsy store, or like sticker. Here, look, you're gonna end up buying stickers. Buy some of my stickers, man. Come on. CMYK has done some incredible sticker designs, and so look, you gotta buy 2 things from me. I'm gonna move some of these stickers along. This is a sticker sheet. There's 5 of them on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $10 for the sticker sheet, or you can buy individual stickers. I have tons. Most of them are up on my Etsy store. Some of them are not. New School logo and holographic. I'm not sure if that's up there. This should be up there. This is actually a window cling. $5 for any one of these. Gangly Gang in holographic. Why do I have so many of these? Oh, because this is when I was doing the sticker packs. Gangly Gang in matte. Oh man, I used to have like a tight little collection of stickers, and now they're all effed up. Small CiottiFPV in matte. Small CiottiFPV in holographic. Again, some of these stickers are not up on the Etsy store. This cool one, which is actually a clear sticker. The white is clear. Ultra festive Gangly Gang super duper holographic. This I believe is sold out. Big CiottiFPV in holographic. That should be up on the Etsy store. Old school CiottiFPV logo as a magnet. Sticker in matte. Kill All Carbon holographic. If all of you car people do not get this sticker, I'm going to hit you with a shovel. Nut Grabber holographic sticker. Apple Rainbow CiottiFPV in holographic. Never Give Up. I think there's just a couple of these left with Clam Man on there. Micro King as a sticker, not a window cling. New School logo in matte. There's a holographic again. I think that's all of them. I believe that's all of them. That's all of them. So yeah, buy 2 stickers, get a goggle strap and a lanyard for free. I'm going to be showing off one. I need to get Ziploc bags for these. And I'm going to show off like one design per live stream. Although you can just go to, if you want to look at a whole bunch of the designs, you could just go to Google Images and search for Pretty Fly FPV. And there's a whole bunch of the designs there. There's another design there. There's another design here. There's a bunch of Google Images. Yo! Remember on the other live stream where I was like, man, I wish I could have gotten this goggle strap. In that box with hundreds of goggle straps and lanyards, there was just one. Just one. No matching lanyard, but oh my god, what a beautiful little present. This is like I hold this old school cardboard cup design. This is from my youth, man. Growing up, that was on like every single cardboard cup in every single fast food place. I just have like such memories of that specific design. So yeah. Also, there are 4 pin vices left. They are double-sided pin vices just like this one. One side has a 0.99 millimeter drill bit. The other side has a 1.5 millimeter drill bit. The reason why you keep ruining your tiny whoop motors is that most of the propellers are not sized correctly for the inner diameter. Get this, and whenever you're about to put a propeller onto a tiny whoop, put that propeller onto the appropriate drill bit here, and just really quickly take a little bit of material off. You'll be able to more easily push it onto the motor. You'll be able to remove it without ruining your fingers, and you'll stop ruining your motors. The reason why your motors are ruined because the props are going on too tight and they're pushing the motor shaft down through, or you're spinning the propeller to get it off, and then and that's spinning the motor shaft on the bell. It's a super common failure. The pin vices are a little expensive. It's $40, but it'll save you motors and it'll pay for itself almost for sure. I just hold it like this. 661. You just hold the pin vise like this because the prop just goes on there super easy. You just hold the prop, boop, 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 on and off, good to go. So yeah, I got some stuff for sale. If you buy anything from me, I'll throw in a lanyard if you ask. You gotta ask though. And or a goggle strap. Cool. We did all the things. Let me get caught up on chat, and then we will all go our separate ways for this afternoon. But I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Scuffed FPV says, I fly my 53-gram all-up weight Walksnail rig outside all the time, and it's amazing. What's the setup? By the time you reply, I'll be gone. Walter says, put a small speaker on the drone. He goes bananas. I can't imagine. Cole Power says 100% it browned out. That battery is probably so weak it couldn't keep up. What's interesting is it usually it'll brown out like that when I stab the throttle. I was consistent on the throttle, which is why I was a little confused. Brandon's Baked Bean says, you can try to feel the screws, but they cool off fast. I worry much more about ESC temperature versus the motor's 1S. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't understand how they cool off so fast. I don't get it, but it is what it is. Juiced Klein Tank says, you can feel hot motors if you have iron screws in your motors, which I do. I don't know if they're iron, but they're metal. Put the screws in the motors in your face or on your lips to feel them get hot. Yeah, I've tried it. I can't feel tiny boop motors. The screws or the motor belt, I don't feel them get hot. I don't get it. But they obviously are. They have to be. Brandon's Baked Beans dropping the Etsy store link. Thank you, dude. As well as the Teespring store link. Joy Last says, what's your DM so I know where to send the Walksnail for donation? Over on CiottiFPV.com, I've got all my contact info. Discord and Instagram are the best, but there's my email over there. There's all kinds of stuff. Whatever's easiest for you. And then Scuffed FPV with the last comment of the live stream says, 1002, 20,000 kV motors, happy model 6 amp AIO, Walksnail 1S. Which 1002 20,000s? All on a Mobile 7 frame with a printed canopy. Very cool. Yeah, the Walksnail rigs are very, very cool. I just, for this freestyle one, I there's an amount of power that I want, and we're like really close. We're closer than we've ever been with these BetaFPV motors. I do wish they were Happy Model 1002s. Interesting. I've heard interesting things about them. I've heard that they're not well balanced, which was my experience. But I've also heard that they make good power. So maybe I'll try them at some point. I'm not sure. Thanks for hanging, my friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Go to the website, click some buttons, subscribe, click the thumbs up, do whatever you want. Thanks for hanging. Hope you learned something. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Bye-bye. I'm not ready. Here comes some more of the outdoor flying with the BetaFPV 1002 rig, just to round it all out. This is the same one that I played at the beginning. But, yeah. For real this time. Bye-bye! Later, friends. See you tomorrow night.